Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. I
Uh,
gotta catch my breath. Good morning,
oh,
everyone.
good morning. You okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Oh, hi,
I'm good
Alex.
too. How is everyone today?
How you doing, Alex? Everyone's fine.
Hi, Louise.
Mm, just drinking some coffee.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
Did you all see the email for today? Who can tell me what day it is?
Book day. Oh, you talking about pizza day? Oh, wait a minute. The book day. Do I own book?
Who read today's email?
Oh, I ain't read today one. I knew from yesterday.
Good morning.
Hi,
Good
Brenda.
morning, Brenda.
How's everyone doing?
Good.
Good. I see you got my favorite couple on.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I wish he could come back.
Mm-hmm.
Today
Yeah.
is day, the braid day.
Uh,
Hi, Sandra. How are
How you
you?
doing? It's the braid day.
Yes, good. Yes, bing, bing, bing. There you go, Sandra. Yes, it's basically sunshine day. So, get
yeah.
outside. It's gonna be nice today. So,
Yeah. Everyone.
Well, I'm not gonna hang with you guys because I already got my $25. So I won't be participating this afternoon session.
Oh yeah. 18.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was gonna get another one, but
I did too. Well, I ain't get the
we wish you
first one.
could, you guys, but
uh,
it's all up to AT&T. But a lot of others are able to get it now, so that's just a blessing just to be able to get on a Zoom and learn, and then
yeah.
card. So it's a great thing.
Right.
Yeah. But it's good. I mean, I still enjoy it, whether I get it or not, but I'm out of here. I'm going out.
I know that's right.
Look, I
I'm,
might even try to go out.
I'm leaving the premises.
I know that's right, Sandra.
I ain't been out since the pandemic started.
Yeah.
Huh?
I haven't been out since the pandemic started, only to
Oh,
go to the hospital or when I moved here.
oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Girl, I
But
know
I'm
you
good.
got cabin
I'm
fever.
good.
Shoot, I
You
ain't
know
been
what?
going that many places either.
I done got used to it. It's all right. But I'm gonna get
Uh-huh.
out. When I do get out, they're gonna have to find me.
It's okay, Sandra. I haven't been outside DC in so long, so it feels like I've been in the same place forever.
Mm.
Uh-huh.
I
Me
went
too,
to I
Alex.
went to Ocean City one time last year, but besides that, I've been in DC, and I just been exploring what's in, basically my home city since I was 8. So it's been fun. So, I don't feel bad about not traveling because,
Mm.
that's
Either.
how you know, I
Me either.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
gonna have to find me.
But now, but now so much stuff going on outside make you don't
You
really
really
want to
don't
go
want
out
to
there.
go out.
I'm telling you,
Look,
I heard the man on the news yesterday. He was saying that he said, "I think we're gonna have to start wearing body vests." And
mm-mm. And
Body
that
bag.
ain't no joke. My aunt was sitting at the bus stop with her great granddaughter that
uh-huh.
just turned 12, and these crazy people came up the street shooting. The bullet
Mm,
went straight past her great granddaughter's ear, and she
mm.
screamed so loud she passed out. My aunt thought she had got hit, and she passed out.
Oh wow. When that
Good
was?
morning.
That was last month, and she ain't been nowhere since.
Hi
Mm.
Gracie, how are you?
I'm
Wow.
good. I'm
I
good.
know that's something.
Everybody all
Hi,
right?
Gracie.
I'm sorry
Yeah.
to hear that,
Okay.
Sandra. You know what we can do is we can just just hope for a better future, and it starts with ourselves.
Good
So
morning,
Mm,
Alex.
yeah,
we're
true.
good, and that's
And
all that
that
matters, and that's how we can help others by
Yep.
making sure that
right.
we're good. So, just try to stay positive, and I see all that stuff that's going on, but you just got to really focus on the good things that are
That's right.
happening,
Yeah,
and just
Yeah.
recognize
I
that
know.
the negative is happening, but just keeping that in the back of our head because that's not good for our mental. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's so hard because
but
I
it's
never
yeah,
really experienced all this. I mean, I experienced a couple of things like this, but not this bad. Not this bad. And
You
it's
know,
just
it's
scary.
weird.
Yeah, and it's scary. And it's, you know, I don't know the words for it, but I just don't understand it. What's wrong with these young people? I don't understand it. It
Nope.
ain't a whole lot of grown people. It's these young people doing this stuff.
And
For
it is some of the grown ones because they ain't got good sense either.
yeah, that's true too. Cause they they participate to the problem because they sell the kids the drugs and
Hmm.
whatever. They just as bad as the children.
But
They sell it to them.
when we were coming up, if you had an argument or a fight,
Right.
you did it, and then it
That's
was
right.
over. The next week
Yep.
we were back friends again.
Yep. Exactly.
They
And
don't know what that is no more.
no, because it'd be like now these young people, you step on their shoe, they ready to knock you out. Hey
Knock
man,
you
you
out, they're
stepped
ready
on
to
my
shoot
new
you.
shoes.
They ready to shoot you.
Yeah, and anything. I mean, it's
It's
you
just
know,
crazy.
and the
that's
girls just
actually
as bad as the guys. The
That's why
girls
we got to be more
participating.
compassionate to each other, and just relay that message to everyone you see, and just tell people, just treat people how you want to be treated, and
Right.
Right.
just again, just staying positive, and
Hmm.
again, ignoring the bad things that are happening. But Kim said, um uh she said to tell everyone that she said hi, that she's still getting together, so but she just wanted to let you know that she misses you guys. So that's
Yeah.
all.
Okay.
Kim.
All right.
Who
Yeah.
said that, Alex? I'm
Kim.
just
Kim
Kim
Johnson.
Johnson.
Kim. Okay.
She's not feeling well, Alex.
She's recovering. So
Okay.
she's doing better. She was able to get the help that she needed, thank God.
Good.
So I just wanted to tell you guys that she says hi and to
Okay.
Thank
enjoy
you.
your day.
That's
Oh,
good.
okay. You
I've
still
been
ain't heard from
told her.
Portia?
No, I've been calling Portia, and her phone goes straight to voicemail. So,
Everybody's been trying to get
and
hold of.
I've left several messages, and she's never returned my call. So,
Hmm.
I hope she's okay.
Yeah, I know, because she'll be on.
Mm-hmm.
But
It was,
like
it was
Dina,
nice
she wasn't on
being
for a
seen
minute.
on
Huh?
the other day. it was nice to see Maxine on the other day.
Yes,
And,
Yes,
it was.
that
Yeah.
yes, and Vito has
Yeah.
been on. She just hasn't been as vocal lately, but she's been getting on the calls. But you know, I'm paying attention to that myself. But it was nice to see Maxine, and
It
you know
was.
that shows you how you know
Mhm.
even if you're dealing with a lot physically,
Yeah.
emotionally, mentally, you know, this brings some kind of solace to people. So
Right.
a
You
blessing.
know who I miss, Alex? I miss Oscar.
Me too. I haven't seen him in a couple months. I saw him at a library training a couple of times, but
Yeah.
it's been a while. So I'll keep that in mind.
It's
What
a
about
quite a few
Dina?
of them.
And Dina has been on. She just hasn't been as vocal lately. So
Okay.
it's but she still hops on occasionally.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a quite a few of them that don't, you know, they haven't been back. And I wonder about them.
And sometimes
Yeah.
some of them be on, but they don't talk.
I know, but I'll
Okay.
go through the participants list to see if they on there.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes they just don't be on there.
Mm.
Mm.
Wow.
The weather's getting nice. Maybe some of them can still get out, you know.
Yeah.
Oh
Hopefully that's
yeah.
what it is. Hopefully that's what it is.
Yeah.
Right. But that's we gotta keep our men on here though. They'll come on for a minute.
I
And
know
then
we
we
don't
don't see
have
'em no
many
more.
of 'em.
We have to
don't have
encourage
many
them
of
to
'em.
talk and let them talk, because I think a lot of them just keep quiet because they say, I
Yeah.
just enjoy listening to you all. So maybe you need to
Uh-huh.
let them talk.
But
some.
that was
Wait,
Ronald.
really, that's really what it is, Gracie. They just really enjoy our, you know, the conversations that
Mhm.
yeah. So, you know, sometimes
But
I
Alex,
can listen too.
I
Yeah,
had
but I
10
like to
brothers. I
hear
love
from.
to hear men talk too.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because Ronald said he getting tired of talking all by himself. All by himself. We used
Ronald
to have
Mickens is
Andre.
starting to.
He does a good job for Monday though.
Yeah, he does.
When I
Yeah.
get a chance to listen, I'm usually doing
Mhm.
I'm usually on a phone call or something. But when I have the chance to get on, you know, he does a good job. So I'm
Yeah, he
Yeah.
do.
thankful
Look,
for that.
he used to thought he had Andre with him, but Andre done got
Andre
married and
got
started
lost on
showing
him.
off.
He's come on at least once in the past 2 weeks. I've seen him. So he's still up and kicking. Just you know,
Yeah.
he's
He
a
probably
character.
at the bowling
So,
alley.
No,
Good
he probably on
morning.
his
Good
he's on his
morning.
honeymoon.
Yeah,
hi
you're right.
Teresa,
I
how are
forgot he
you?
got married.
Good morning, all.
Good
Yep,
morning.
it's that day
Good morning.
of the week, the last day, at least for the work day for me. It's not the last day of the week, but it's the last work day of the week for me. It's always a bittersweet moment. The sweet part is that I have the day to myself tomorrow. And the bitter part is that I don't get to see you all. And I have to wait till Monday again. So, because you all have become like my morning wake up coffee, whatever you want to call it, inspiration.
Yeah.
We miss you
So-
too, Teresa.
Yeah. So it's bittersweet moment, but we'll make the very best of today. As you could see, do we have any birthdays today? Any birthdays? Anybody celebrating anything today before we jump in? Celebration of anything today?
Today is not, it's May Ray Day, basically Sunshine
Yes.
Day today. So
Great.
so everyone just, you know, feel the sun. It gives you, you know, that vitamin C, just it makes you feel better. So if you're able to get some sunshine in your home or outside. But I'm about to hop off for a meeting, but I just wanted to wish everyone a happy weekend if I don't see you this afternoon, and it's always a pleasure.
Same to you.
Thank you, Alex. Alex.
Thank you, Alex. All right, as you can see from the screen, we're looking at self-publish, how to self-publish a book. And there are two reasons. It was actually Yolanda from DACL that says, why don't you do a presentation on that note? because some of you may want to begin looking at perhaps writing your memoir one day, leaving your legacy behind in words and pictures. And we do have a software you do have a software, an app on your iPad, Pages, that could assist you very much so into doing so. And then the second reason is giving ideas for the recipe book that we have, the recipe book club that currently putting together. And Dactyl again has asked me to make sure that the team is fully aware of the various steps that it takes to publish a book and how to do it independently and not rely on paid agencies to assist with that. So we're going to look at what's the definition of self-publishing. We'll look at the 3 aspects of publishing, and then we'll then look at how to self-publish a book. So I'll begin with the disclaimer. The Wilderness Technology Alliance DC Senior IBAT program, its owners and presenters offer technical assistance, virtual help, well-being information designed for educational purposes only. You should not rely on the information in any application or topics made by the Wilderness Technology Alliance, including but not limited to mobile and device applications, any social media pages maintained by the Wilderness Technology Alliance DC iPad program, its owners or presenters as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, treatment, or legal advice. All right, so what is the definition of self-publishing? And I found this on Wikipedia. It says it's publication of media by its author at its own cost without the involvement of a publisher. The term usually refers to written media such as books and magazines, either as an ebook or as a physical copy using print-on-demand technology. It may also apply to albums, pamphlets, brochures, games, video content, artwork, and zines. Web fiction is also a major medium for self-publishing. So now we get an understanding of what is self-publishing here. Let's look at how books are what is the typical way books are being published now as well. So they're saying that there's the self-publishing versus the hybrid, and then there's the vanity publishing. Again, got this data from Wikipedia. It says in self-publishing, authors publish their own book. It is the responsible for the author to single-handedly carry out the whole process. However, increasingly, authors are recognizing that to compete effectively, they need to produce a high-quality product, and they are engaging professionals for specific services as needed, such as editors or cover designers. All right, so now we're going to look at the various types. Cover that. So we looked at what is self-publishing. Now let's look and see what is hybrid publishing. It said where the publisher and the author collaborate and share the costs and risk. In return, the author may be required to surrender some control and or rights in return for the publisher's financial and other contributions. Or, let's see what else. Then there is the vanity. The author pays for the cost of all services, but also signs a restrictive contract, which usually involves surrendering significant rights. So those are 3. There's the self-publishing, there is the hybrid, and then there's the vanity. So now we're going to look at basically self-publishing. And they're saying, that from my research that I found, it says, don't self-publish a book before answering these crucial questions. And this is by Forbes magazine. 1, is your book ready for the public? 2, which self-publishing platform are you going to use? 3, which book formats do you plan to offer? 4, who is your target audience? And 5, where and how will you market your book? That's what Forbes magazine is. When you publish, self-publishing, these are the questions you need to ask yourself before you even jump into the fire. All right. So now we're going to look at 10 steps of that I found in my research as to how to self-publish your own book. So if you're a writer, a dreamer, or anyone with something important to say, you've probably thought about writing and publishing a book. But while writing a book is a huge achievement in itself, getting it in front of readers is another matter. And figuring out how to publish a book can present a real challenge for first-timers. And I imagine we may not have some first-timers here on board, because I know Bridget, for one, has shared with me that she's published a couple children's books. Do we have anybody else here that's published books on board?
Yes,
Right now?
Lynette Tony has published a book.
Lynette, go ahead. Lynette, you want to talk about your book for a second?
Well, my book was published by Simon & Schuster, and I wrote the book, co-authored it with my co-author, and we finished it in about 4 months. And Simon & Schuster did all of the marketing, the promotion, the television interviews, the radio interviews. They did everything. They gave us an upfront royalty check so that they could recoup their money by selling the book. And my book is now on Amazon.com, BarnesandNobles.com, and it's still available to purchase.
Okay, you can always share that information in the chat in case anyone is interested in finding out more about your book. Thank you for sharing, Lynette.
Thanks.
All right, so these are the steps we're going to look at: choosing a publishing route, editing the draft, getting feedback from editors and critique circles, titling your manuscript, formatting your book publication, designing a book cover that converts readers, writing a publisher-ready book description, creating a book launch plan, publishing your book online retailers, and marketing your book. All right. Now, Lynette, since you're the only one that's on board that's published, if there's anything you'd like to chime in from time to time, feel free to do so, okay?
Okay.
So the first one we're going to look at is choosing a publishing route. Since the modern authors have many publishing routes from which to choose, there's no one right way to publish a book. So the steps in this guide should be seen as best practices rather than mandatory actions, okay? They're just suggested steps because there's no right way. So now we're going to look at the pros and the cons of 3 different publishing routes. So we'll look first at self-publishing. They're saying the pro is a complete creative control, faster publishing time, custom distribution, higher royalties, for example, 70% for ebooks, 50% for print books. Now the con, where that self-publishing is, the author is responsible for all the production costs and marketing effort, lower eligibility for mainstream prizes and bestsellers list. So that's the con. For a small press publishing, I think this is the one that Lynette just spoke about, right, Lynette? Small press publishing. The pros for that is it's a small team to work with you more closely, faster production than with major publishers, and it may be best if you're writing for a niche audience. What is the con? Less control and lower royalties than publishing a book alone, less notoriety than Big 5 publishing, slightly higher potential for publishing scams. And then third one is Big 5 publishing. Established creative team behind you, distribution to physical stores, more mainstream publicity, and literary prestige. Now, what's the
That's the one
downside?
I use.
Oh,
the
this
Big
is the one you
5.
use.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you saw the advantages here, the pros. Let's look at the
Yes.
downside of it. Minimal creative control, long publishing time, typical 1 to 2 years after the final edit, and much lower royalties, 5 to 15% for print books. All right, so we're going to look at the best route. Got any sense of the best publishing route for your book? Great. Now we'll cover the advice as that every author should take into account, regardless of how they should choose. The edit draft. The greatest gift any author can give their manuscript is a thorough edit. Yes, this is true whether you're self-publishing or submitting your book to agents. Either way, people will be reading it, judging it, and making decisions that impact its success. So we're looking at the editing part here. This is never edit a book before, okay? So editing seems to be the key, because at least it's the second step. After you decided on what route you're going to take as far as publishing, the second thing is the editing aspects of it. Now, because of technology these days, we've got these templates that you could find online. In fact, there's one in Pages, the app that's on your iPad, that would allow you to edit. You enter your data in there and it will assist you with it. So there are a lot of step-by-step guides as to how to edit a book. That will it contains the detailed editing tips for every major story element, like plots, characters, and conflict, as well as finer aspects like a dialogue and description. Yes, there are apps there that you can actually access to help you with the editing of your book. Okay, here are also a few pointers to get you started. They're saying wait a week or more before you edit. This will give you the fresh eyes you need to consider your writing way as an editor would. Wait a week, they said. Start with a plot and character. Read through your entire book and take notes with big picture elements in mind. Does your plot follow a sensible structure, have a good number of plot points, and not seem to be rushed at the end? Do your characters feel well-rounded with compelling motivations driving them and dynamic interaction with others? If this too is intimidating, then they're saying at this point you should skip the edits for now if it comes across intimidating. Maybe you can't wrap your head around the plot or the character changes right now, but you can still work on the pacing of individual scenes, or you can hone your voice with better words choice. Even correcting basic mechanical errors is better than nothing. So if you can't get into the editing mode, there are other areas you can look at until you get that part, you get through that intimidating part. So they're saying, if you're struggling to get through a chunk of editing, try reading passages out loud. This is a great way to break down your mental blocks and hear what can be improved in your writing. And I have to say, this is very true. When I was in undergraduate school, my freshman year in graduate school, my papers were horrible when it comes to writing. It was so horrible that I was totally ashamed of it. So I took a summer class, and the professor at that time said, anything that I write, I should read it out aloud, before, just read it out aloud, and I'll get the bits of how it's coming across. Is it really grammatically correct? How, the sentence structure is placed. So they're saying, read it out aloud if you're having problems with the editing part of it. And they're giving you some examples here, how to edit. All right. And then, do I really need to edit my book? Yeah, in short, yeah. No one wants to read a book full of typos or plot holes, and no self-respecting author would publish an unedited draft anyway. Unless you've already signed a book deal, you'll need to find someone to iron out your manuscript, and short of training to become an editor yourself, that means hiring a professional editor to do the job. So They're saying if you really want to do well in this book, you might want to get somebody else behind you after you've put the draft together to look at it and look at your manuscript and edit it for you. Highly recommending, they're suggesting that you do that. You need a deep
And
dive.
if you're talking about facts, you really have to fact check everything too.
Thank you, Lynette. You have to fact check whatever it is that you're putting there, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Mhm. Thank you. They're saying a careful copy edit, one final eagled proof read. Professional editors take care of every detail to ensure your book is practically perfect before it goes to the press. So did you hire somebody to edit it for you,
Well,
Lynette?
actually, I had an agent, and my agent did a lot of the work for me with Simon & Schuster. Since Simon & Schuster has different departments to edit, to fact check, to do everything. So all I had to do was to write the book and accept the check. And they did everything else. But I gave away some of my money for them to do that.
Yes, I could imagine. I see Bridget here on. Bridget, you want to talk about the editing part of your books that you wrote?
Actually, I did all the editing and typesetting and copywriting myself. I didn't pay for the price of them doing anything for me.
Right.
I took care of all of it. So.
Right. The third part of a self-publishing is to get feedback from editors and critique circles. Whether you hire an editor or not, thoughtful third-party feedback is invaluable. So throughout the editing process, most authors go through multiple rounds of revision. Share your manuscript with trusted collaborators to see what they, that's a typo, they think. All right. You want honest feedback. They said to help your participants provide a more honest feedback. Ask them to submit any anonymous form with their thoughts on specific elements, namely plot, characters, pacing, and prose. You might include a rating system to make it easier for them. Also, to make sure their feedback is constructive, ask them to propose a solution to each problem, not just to point it out. Yep, you want to seek that part. At least I know I would. And so here's an example. I took a screenshot of what they're recommending as an example of feedback. And this is what it says. Thank you for providing feedback. Please be honest and submit this anonymously when you're done. How satisfied are you with the story? And they can rate it. And then here's the second question. How would you change about the plot? What would you change about the plot? Be specific. For example, I would have the sighting incident happen sooner, shorten flashbacks, ramp up the drama, and so forth. So they said, come up with, or yes. So if you're self-publishing a book, you might want to have something like this to get others to critique it and give you honest feedback on where improvement is necessary. Where should I look for this feedback? If you feel comfortable asking friends and family for their notes, you should, however, you can be a delicate process. Yes, it may not, it may be better not to involve anyone you know personally. Here are three, and we're going to look at 3 ways you can get reliable feedback on your book. So they're saying, don't rely on friends and family because you may not get the honest feedback that you're expecting.
And on that note, Teresa, my Simon & Schuster sent my book out to different people to read, who are in the industry, to get the feedback.
Mm-hmm. Good. And so you were comfortable with that?
Yes.
Right. So here's one. They said critique circles. They are fantastic places to get feedback. Not only do they allow you to get notes on your book, but they also help hone in on your critical skills. Check out the post to learn more about. So you can always go Google critique circles and find out more about them. Then there's the writing communities. which can also be useful. Many of these communities have built-in critique circles, but it's worth checking their individual forum to see if anyone is looking for a critique partner, or if you're lucky, you'll get an offering free critiques. Yeah, they have them. I know of one personally who would love to dive into somebody's manuscript and edit, critique it for them. Then there's the beta readers. They are the third way to get detailed, candid feedback from people who are invested in your book. For context, most authors use beta readers after they've done some self-editing, but before they pass their book off to an editor. You can read more and read up. You read up more on beta readers. And the fourth part of self-publishing is titling your manuscript. Having come this far, you may have already chosen your book's title. But if you haven't quite settled on it, or editing process, or if the editing process changed your manuscript so much, you feel like you need a new title to match, now's the time to nail it down. So after you created your the editing done it, you might want to change the name of the book. So how does one work? So I have this short video I'm going to show a few minutes on that I found on how to title a book. Can you hear it?
Hey everyone, it's Shannon, and today we're going to be talking about how to choose a title. Sometimes choosing a title is really easy, and other times it can be the most difficult 3 words of your entire book. However, a title is really, really important. It gives readers a feel for your book and what they can expect from it. And there are many times where I've never heard of a book before, but I've decided to pick it up or at least look at it and see what it's about just because I thought the title was so interesting. So first of all, let's look at some qualities of a good title. Number 1, it suits the genre and tone. Some titles feel very distinctly one genre. They feel distinctly fantasy. They feel distinctly young adult. And although that's totally fine because it makes your book quite recognizable for what it is, you want to make sure you're not picking a title that feels like it's something else. If I was writing like a cute contemporary novel and I called it something very fantasy sounding, like what would be a really fantasy title, The King of Dragons, I would bet that there's probably a fantasy novel out there with that title. It would probably really confuse readers who would look at it and pick it up thinking that it was a fantasy novel when it was not in any respect. A lot of titles are very ambiguous. They don't point to one genre specifically, but some titles very clearly fit into the confines of one genre, especially because sometimes genres have kind of title trends. It's as easy as going to Goodreads and just going to the list of whatever genre you're writing in and studying what the trends are. Your book's title doesn't have to fit the trends, but I don't think it should fit the trends of another genre because that could be quite misleading. You also want a title that's original and hasn't been used before. Titles aren't copyrighted, so you will find books that have the same title. However, I think it kind of depends on the title itself, whether or not it should ever be reused. If the title is something rather unobscure and quite obvious, you'll probably see it over and over. I saw an article once on the top 10 titles that short stories use, and number 1 was Home. If your title is something so common that it's being reused, maybe it's not that original and you should look elsewhere. I don't think it's a good idea to be reusing titles because it will make it harder for readers to find your book because search results will start conflicting with the other book with this title. A title should also be attention grabbing. Title and cover are 2 of your most immediate and important marketing tools. Eye-catching titles paired with eye-catching covers especially can draw in a reader who's never heard of your book before. I've picked up many books off of the shelf literally just because the title intrigued me. And finally, ideally, a good title gains meaning after the book is read. This isn't necessary, but I think it's a quality that many really strong titles have. It's interesting from the start, but then after the reader has read the book, they see a new meaning and purpose to the title. A lot of authors also like titles that have multiple relevant meanings within the story. So keeping those good qualities in mind, what are a few ways to craft a strong title? Number 1, be specific. As within prose itself, specificity is a great tool for crafting strong titles. Like I mentioned, the title Home isn't very strong. First of all, we've seen it over and over and over, and it's also very, very vague. I just turned around and looked at the shelf behind me to see what kind of titles there were, and I found Arcadia by Lauren Groff. Similarly to the weak title, which is Home, Arcadia is a single word title that expresses a place, but it's specific. It tells us what the place is, and for that reason, it's a much stronger title. A second strong quality is that a title is lyrical. When a title sounds really beautiful and kind of rolls off the tongue, almost like has a kind of a poetic quality, it can be really beautiful and kind of entrancing for someone who's never heard of it before. Again, I just looked to see if there was one that I thought fit this quality, and the book that I thought exemplified that quite well was The Nightingale Won't Let You Sleep by Stephen Hite. I've never read this book, so I don't really know what it's about, but I think the title in itself is just so beautiful that I'm immediately intrigued. It sounds beautiful to say. Number 3 would be use of imagery. Oftentimes this is paired with a sense of lyricalness, but sometimes if a title conjures a really strong image, it can be also really, really engaging. The one that I thought did a good job of this on my shelf was Half of a Yellow Sun by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. Immediately, I have this image of a sun split in half in my mind. And again, before reading the book, I did not know what the significance of that would be within the novel, but I think it sounds really, really beautiful and it makes you see something. Another quality that can make an interesting title is the point of view. Now, not all stories will have like a distinct point of view, but I think it can be really interesting when you know where the title is coming from. One book that I thought did a good job of this was Do Not Say We Have Nothing by Madeline Tien. By including the word we in there's a sense of a person behind this title. Or because it's a we pronoun, a collective pronoun, we're kind of drawn into the title ourselves. You can also create an interesting title through the structure of the words. One book I think does this interestingly is Sing Unburied Sing by Jesmyn Ward. We've got punctuation within the title here, which is really interesting. It's a very interestingly structured title. Another one that did that's just one word, is Swamplandia by Karen Russell. Although we actually have an exclamation point at the end of this title, which you don't see very often. And a final interesting quality that a good title can have is symbolism. In a way, all titles are symbols. It's a stand-in that's representing the entire novel. But oftentimes the title comes from a symbol in the novel. That's kind of the root of many, many titles. One of my favorite titles that I found on my shelf, which I think does more than just be symbolic, I think it's also got a beautiful image and it's very lyrical, is Sadness is a White Bird by Muriel Rothman Decker. I think this is a beautiful title. You kind of know it's going to be symbolic before you read it, but you don't necessarily know what the significance of that will be yet. When trying to craft a title, keeping all that in mind, here are a few techniques that I find helpful. Find a line that kind of exemplifies the ideas of the story, then kind of piece that line apart and put the important words into the strongest order in order to create a title. Some authors don't like title drops, so it might mean deleting the sentence itself if you're adverse to title drops, but it can be a really good way to create a very lyrical, beautiful title that has significance in the story. Second of all would be to do kind of a thought dump. When in doubt, this is usually what I do to create titles. I start by just writing down any word or phrase or image or really anything that I think is significant to my story. This could be names, places, symbols, ideas, images, pretty much anything. Once I have that, I try to identify the most important and interesting words and then try to somehow organize it into something that's a title. And then finally, identify the central idea or theme. Once you know that, try to express it through some sort of image or symbol or condense it into only a few words. I'm really interested to know what your favorite titles are. Some of mine would be Delicate Edible Birds by Lauren Groff. I think that that's a really beautiful title because it's so lyrical and it just sounds beautiful to say, but it also creates a really vivid image. And then another one I really like is Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng. I really like this title because of the use of point of view. There's a lot of tension and conflict just in the title itself. And then I think the use of point of view is really interesting. The I and you kind of give it a sense of intimacy and emotion. Thank you so much for watching. And
all right, so get an idea of how you can decide on the title of your books. Next thing, they're saying keep it short. Think about how many bestsellers these days have 1 to 2 word titles. Title in your book That's the something is a timeless approach for a reason. It gets the idea across quickly and easy for readers to remember. Yep, title in your book is a key, very important, because that's usually what catches, when I'm out looking, shopping for a book, I'm traveling, I'm at the airport, I'm looking for something interesting to read, and I'm looking at titles. And then once I get the title, then I'll look to see what the book is all about before I even think about purchasing it. All right, making it intriguing. They said another advantage of a short title is that it naturally creates intrigue. Still, when in doubt, you can layer on a little bit more. So they're saying that Brit Bennett could have just as accurately called her book, her 2020 book, The Vines of the Family Saga, but Vanishing Half is a much more intriguing, elegant title. So again, look at the difference in names and which one you think would be the one you would, if you were shopping for a book, a good plot to read. I would more or less pick up the one that says Vanishing Half as to what is behind this name. All right, don't copy anyone too closely. While it's good to use tried and true formulas, you don't want your title to sound so familiar that people think, haven't I read that before? This is stay clear of that. The Galileo, the Code, the Girl on the Bus. Yes, move away from these typical titles. The fifth part of self-publishing is how do you format for a book for publication? Now that you have your manuscript fully polished, you're ready to format your book with chapter headings, align the text, and page numbers. Again, this is crucial whether you're self-publishing or sending your work to agents. Either way, you want to make a good impression with a professionally formatted book. All right, so here we're going to look at the manuscript formatting. For those sending their book to agents, all you need is to format your manuscript in a standardized, readable way. There exists a manuscript formatting template. Yes, there's a template just for that occasion. All you have to do is plug in and send the file on its way. Again, there are a lot of apps right now you could find, and one of them, again, you have on your iPad, Pages, that will assist you with that. And that's free. All right, so if you're publishing, if you're a solo publisher, they're saying this step gets you a little trickier when you have to format your book. So it's 100% ready to upload on your chosen self-publishing platform. And many authors are understandably apprehensive about formatting. After all, design is a very different skill set from writing. So you want to think about it when you're self-publishing. It says that, especially as a solo, you're the only one putting it out there. You want to load this onto that platform, whatever it is you're using, to make sure that you know everything is in place before you head there. So there's some free formatting software, as I mentioned earlier. There's Redsea Book Editor, there's the Kindle Create, and then there's Apple Pages, the one that's on your iPad. These are formats and templates that are free. However, each software caters to its own store. So converting your files for another retailers may get messy. So I would think that before you even begin writing, you want to think of which, if you're going to be using a free one, which one you need to look and select that first, and then use that as far as your formatting software. The sixth part of self-publishing is the book cover that converts readers. The next thing you'll need to successfully publish your book is a strong cover. Your book cover provides readers with a vital first impression of your book, which means it must not only attract your target audience attention, but also lets them know that this book is for them, right? That book cover is key. Again, just like the name, the cover is also has to be very attractive, intriguing. In other words, it should spike curiosity. So let's see. It said it should be eye-catching, yet eye-catching, yet tasteful. Whether you choose a photograph-based, illustrated-based, or typographic-based cover, it must be interesting enough to catch the reader's eye, yet not so busy that it looks overwhelming or unprofessional. Here are 3 book covers in each of those categories that achieve just the right balance. So let's look at those 3. Here we've got this one here to the far left, Damaged Joy. Is that striking? I look at the candy, the lollipop or a candy that's here that's, you know, fragmented into pieces. What would you say about this book cover? I would say I would be interested in this. Of these 3, this would be the one I would strike the most as far eye-catching. Now this Annabelle Pickering and the Sky Pirates, the fantastical contraption. I'm gonna have problems with this one. I probably look at this and keep going. But again, it's up to the individual. And then this one, the 3rd one, which is Ian Entang. I don't know. This looks kind of like, is it something I'm going to stop to try to figure out what it's doing? I would think twice.
Entanglement.
Yeah. And it's confusing to look at. Especially if you're I don't think I would fall for that. So you decide of these 3, which one you think would be the one.
I think as well is intriguing to me, and to find out what exactly was damaged, you know.
That would be the one I would of the 3.
Yeah.
Right. They said that the generous is indicative. Consciously or not, readers look for certain cover design elements in their favorite genres, and yours must match at least some of these conventions too. Romance novels, for instance, tend toward illustrated covers and shades of red, pink, and purple. Thrillers, meanwhile, often employ dark colors and unsettling photos to signal their content. And so let's look at a few more. Look at these colors. Here's some, we've got this one here, it says here, call me what? Stewardness. Yep, I think the
call me.
Yeah, I think the S is missing this one. It could have been me when I copied and pasted in here. I did find this on the web and I did a screenshot of it. Could have me that did this. Then there's hardship and bliss. It's a reflection from mothers who seek connection. And there's that, what is that? A rose, hardship and bliss. What is that saying? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's the all families have secret, the hidden, beneath the pines. Notice the colors here, right? That's a thriller, right?
Now that's the one I choose.
That one drew my
Hidden beneath the pines. It would catch me right away. I'd go right straight to that.
Right away.
right away. I was drawn to that. Yeah.
You would go for that. So you would go for the hardship and bliss.
No, I'd have to stand up and read that one a little while. And most of the time I don't take the time to read too much.
Exactly. So there we go. Again, those covers are so, the key to selling books.
Yes.
All right. So they're saying another thing is that if you're self-publishing an ebook, your cover should be just that, a cover since that all readers will see. However, if you're planning to print your book, you'll also need a spine and a back cover design. So there's a difference between when the ebook is just a cover, and if it's a hard copy, you have to think of front and back design, right?
Yeah.
And of course, the spine part of it as well. All right. So the seventh part of self-publishing is looking at ready book description. Yeah, because this is the next part that sells a book. You're in a hurry, you're at the airport or wherever in a bookstore. You want to look at that's where I go. First, the cover is what attracts me, the name, and then I look at the description before I purchase it. So your description is another major factor in getting people to buy your book. Luckily, it's easy to optimize your description for better sales. So they're saying that you need to learn how to write a book description. That's the key. It must be strong, a basic of writing a strong description. In other words, it should be just as important as the book itself, your book, because that's what's going to sell you out there.
Right.
It's the description. Yeah. All right. So here's some things of how these book descriptions should go. A few of them I've got here. How to hook a reader with a headline. Whether it's a dramatic statement, a pull quote from a rave review, or the actual first line of your book, your headline should get readers invested right away. 2, introduce the plot or the idea, but don't summarize the whole thing. You don't have space for that. Give a brief description of the central conflict, or if you've written a nonfiction book, note the core concepts you'll be covering. And then there's a third one. Leave them wanting more. Yep. And on a question or hint or twist or even an outright cliffhanger. Make it impossible for the reader not to preview your book, only because they're skeptical that you might pull it off. Huh?
Yeah.
So that's what gets me, you know. If the description doesn't get me, I'm next book. All right. So what are the key words do you want to have in that area? Whilst not contained in your book description, keywords and categories are 2 more important parts of your online. This is for online books, for those who don't know. So your online shopping for books, keywords are also, that's how we do our search these days. And when we're using internet, we use keywords. Keywords are related to phrases that people might search to find a book, like yours. For example, if you've written a self-help book about eating better, some of your keywords might be how to eat healthy, best diet plan, and change your life. You can check out on Amazon keywords before you even decide on your keywords. Categories are the genres and the subgenres to which your book belongs. These can be as general as, for example, nonfiction, or as specific as you want it. Nonfiction with biography and autobiography, personal memoirs, and you could find, again, more of them on Amazon in their categories. So check out Amazon when you're making that decision. The target reader. The best way to choose keywords and categories is to put yourself in your target reader's shoes. What would they search in order to find your book? What similar books might they be reading? Into which categories do those books fit? For example, with the recipe club that is going on right now, they've selected the name of their book. Now, there's some keywords in there. If this turns out to be an online book, is that where it's going, Bridget? I'm not sure where the book is going. Is it online? Lynette or Bridget, you there?
You mean the cookbook?
The cookbook, yeah.
We haven't really
we hope
decided
to
it
have
yet.
it online and brick and mortar stores as well.
Uh-huh. So you'll want to have keywords in that name
And
of
also,
that book, right?
Print on demand.
Yes.
Right. Keywords, especially for the online version of it. How do they be able to find that book, that recipe book, by using a keyword? And
that's why we discussed those keywords, because we knew that people would be looking on Google or whatever to look for. So we have to have the keyword to bring up the book, as opposed to bringing up something else, you
Right.
know.
Like when I designed the cover of my children's book, Thule Ridge and the Snowman, all you have to do is type in Thule Ridge and you'll bring up the book. Not only will you bring up that book, but you'll bring up a copy of the other book that I published. So you want to make sure there's a word that will automatically pull it up. So
Yes, like in my case, I did Wow the Dow. And
Mhm.
anybody who are into finance recognizes the word Dow.
Dow, that's right.
So we gotta have words that people can recognize and that can be pulled up easily if you want to direct them to your book.
Mm-hmm. Or you can use your first and last name, and that would also pull up the book. So if you Google my first name and my last name, my maiden name is what I published under. So you will be able to bring up both of my books. As a matter of fact, if you put in Bridget Comer, you can bring up both. But if you just put in Thule Ridge, you'll bring up the latest book, and then it'll have a link to something else. And you can see all the other advertisements and stuff where they're still selling the book.
Thanks for sharing. Very, very good information for this topic. Optimization. A nice thing to remember about your book description, keywords and categories is that you can always tweak them later. Yeah, you can come up with it now and then later on, come back, change it. That said, you should try to optimize these elements before your book launch and hit the ground running. Speaking of it, of which the next step is, which is the book launch. Yeah, very important too. All those steps, every step you realize is just as important as the one before. Launching your book. Your book isn't going to sell itself, and the first few days are make or break it. Yep. So one thing you need before you publish, and which you should start working on as early as possible, is a killer launch plan. Now, do you have one in place for the recipe book, guys?
No, we haven't discussed that.
Okay, so this is something you might want to focus. And here, I'll be more than happy to host it, to launch it as part of the program when you're ready, you know.
Okay, we'll talk about that with the group and see what where their feelings are.
Right. So they're saying this plan should raise your awareness, tap into your existing audience, and kick up a fuss about your book. If it's something that involves inviting DACL to it, you know, all their staff, you know, because this is as a result, because of their program.
Exactly.
They said throw a virtual launch party, which is what I had in mind. Make it a big event. Shout out your book from the rooftop so that many people if possible will hear about it. Yeah, you need to think about a virtual party for this recipe book. All right. Congratulations, you finally published your book. You're glad to know that the act of self-publishing a book is actually pretty easy. Amazon and other retailers take you through the upload process step by step. And as long as you have your materials prepared, you should have no trouble. All right. So here's what you can expect to do in the order. Enter your title, book description, and keywords or category. Upload your manuscript as an EPUB file. Add your book cover using JPEG, TIFF, or PDF, and the price your book and hit publish. Yep, these are the steps when you're doing it, perhaps through Amazon. Should I publish outside of Amazon? Okay, perhaps the biggest question when it comes to self-publishing is, should you only self-publish through Amazon or go wide with other stores like Apple Books, Barnes and Nobles, and Kobo? And so, yes, that's a question you want to, Lynette, you want to talk about how is it that you decided on how you want to publish the book?
How did I do what?
How is it you decided? What led you to choose your publisher?
Well, it kind of came to me easy because my granddaughter was in the Girl Scouts, and there was a lady in the Girl Scouts who had just published a mother-daughter book, and we talked, and she turned me on to her agent, and I talked to the agent, and the agent thought it was an excellent book because it was introducing children to financial literacy. And so she encouraged us to do the proposal quickly. She got it to Simon and Schuster. She didn't even have to shop it around to many different publishers because Simon and Schuster was very interested in it. And so we went with Simon and Schuster because Simon and Schuster is a big publishing house. And they did a good job on the marketing and the printing, and it's still out there. I was very pleased with them, and if I could get my second book that I'm working on with them, I would be quite happy. But I'm doing a couple of children books right now, and I'm thinking of self-publishing them. So you know, it's different ways you can go, but it's hard to get publishers to be interested in your book unless you're Michelle Obama or somebody.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, he's right about that.
Yes, true.
Celebrity endorsement is a big thing these days. So if you can find a celebrity, you can get a better endorsement because it will bring a wider audience. As my venture was a little different than Lynette's. I started from scratch, just scratch, meaning that I had to shop publishers myself. So I ordered a lot of publishing packages. I read through them. They send you the packages for free. You read through them, then you decide. I mean, you compare. You make a comparison, and the one that I finally chose because they didn't need an agent and I could purchase the services of an agent, and that I would maintain full control over what my book looked like and where it was going. Now, my first book, I went with American Publishers. That wasn't a good idea because that American Publishers company was very small and it kind of went out of business. So I essentially pulled my book away from them. So my book is kind of like the little hopping frog is sitting in limbo. Now, with the second publisher, which was Author House, their self-publishing agent, they provide everything that you need to know. Not only did I learn how to typeset my book, you know, through trial and error, but it didn't take very long, but I learned how to negotiate with the publisher. Negotiation was a big thing for me because I didn't get like Lynette did. She got a big, a first upfront fee because she did have a reputable publisher. Even though Author House is a reputable publisher, they're subsidiaries of another publishing house, you know, so they're pretty reputable. They got my book out. Once I finished my typesetting, they got my book out in about a month. They sent it back to me to show me how it was going to look, even though I designed the cover and I designed the back and everything. Everything in that book, I designed it. The only thing I didn't do on the book was add their name. They added their name to the back of the book. And also, I told them to put an advertisement in my book. So they would pay for the advertisement. Every time a book was sold, I would receive royalties from their advertisement. So I allowed them to put Author House in the back of my book. I wish I had one. I could go upstairs and get one, but I have I had full control over the book, which meant that I got 80% of the royalties for every book sold, and it went worldwide. And it's actually we're actually talking about the second publishing of the book because it sold really quickly, and it did make it to Walmart. and it made it worldwide. So they published it in 19 different languages and 17 different countries. So that wasn't an extra cost. It was relatively inexpensive by our standards today. But when I first started, I was going from nothing. So I had to come up with the money, and think whether I wanted to spend this money and take a gamble on myself and that kind of thing. But it was a hard road, but I learned a lot. And this is why I can format our book so well, because I've already been through that stage of it.
And one thing we have to remember, whether we're doing our individual book or we're doing it collectively, your book, if it has the right title and everything, it could potentially, like Bridget said, it could go worldwide. My book was into finance, and the Korean people came and asked permission to reprint our book in the Korean language, which we gave them permission, and they gave us a check. So you want to get worldwide exposure. You don't just want to sell in the United States. And when you write your book, take that into consideration. If another country may want to use your book, and as I said, you want to do a worldwide exposure. And if you're selling on the internet, which most books sell through these days, you will get international exposure.
Yes, you will. Also, if they order your books in places like Barnes and Noble, Books A Million, etc., you can actually go to those places and request purchase of the book through their company. And then that way, the author, she or he gets a part of their proceeds. And unfortunately, I wish I had been more tuned like Lynette was and paid for I would have had to pay for an agent, because the agent is your best marketing tool.
It is. And the agent gets a piece of the agent gets their, just like I got my money up front first. The agent gets theirs up front first, but I didn't mind paying that because I knew I was getting a professional service, and my book would be treated with professionalism all across the board. So it is important along the way to know these things.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
And
I
so
appreciate.
so you
Go
have
ahead,
two different versions. I would love to go Lynette's route, but I still want to maintain 100% of the book rights and what goes on with the book.
And also, one last thing I want to add is that whatever type of book you write, just keep in mind that you cannot infringe on anybody else's material. You can't plagiarize it. Your stuff has to be original. And if it's not original, then you have to get permission from somebody who made it original to use it, and maybe even have to pay them some money to use it. So keep in mind as you write your book that, first of all, I always say you don't want to be sued, okay? So because people will come from you, and I'm going to tell you a little story, because I wrote a book called Wow the Dow, and it was about finance. The Wall Street Journal is owned by the Dow Jones Company. And so when we wanted to have a web page and we wanted to trademark our name and all of that kind of stuff, these companies have monitors out there protecting their trademark. So the Dow people came to us in a written letter through our agent and through our publishing company and everybody. I said, hold up, wait a minute. This is our trademark. You cannot use it. Well, lo and behold, we had already had the book cover and everything done. The book was completed. The cover was there. It took a lot of time to get it done and completed. And so we had attorneys with Simon & Schuster who negotiated with the Dow Jones Company to allow us to use it this one time because we already had all this work put into the book and the cover and all of that. So it was a bigger negotiation and they almost said no, but so they said, yes, you can use it for this book and this book only. No website pages, no .coms with the word Dow. This is the only way you can use it. And if you use it in any other way, we're going to bring the biggest lawsuit on you ever had. So that's why I always emphasize to people, don't infringe on anybody else's stuff. And if you want to trademark something, go see the trademark. See if you can get it trademarked, because the trademark office is going to come back and tell you whether you can or not. If it's already trademarked, they will say somebody else hold it. If you try to use it without, going through that, then the people like the Dow is going to come for you. So you got to keep all of that in mind, because once you step out as a publisher, you're stepping out big time, and people will come for you big time if you're don't have all your ducks lined up correctly.
And the publisher will ask you whether or not this is an original piece. They will ask.
Thank you. Right. Thank you. I've got to go. I really appreciate both of you stepping in and sharing your experiences. In fact, it's just as important what I'm sharing, or even more, because yours is real. You've been there, did that, done that. So it's a good way of sharing with the audience what you've experienced. But to wrap it up, because we've gone past our time, I just want to wrap. I've got a couple more slides. It says for first timers, going to Amazon exclusive is often the best option, simply because it offers so much more in return. There's the KDP Select, which is a program that requires Amazon exclusivity, allows you to run those price promotions we mentioned. And that's what, they mentioned on what is known as the Kindle Plus, added your book to the Kindle Unlimited library, where even more readers can find it. So they're saying, as a first timer, maybe you want to start with Amazon. Market the book to increase sales. Your book is published, and hopefully pulling readers in already, but it doesn't mean that your work is done. Far from it. Okay. So the final step to publish a book is marketing it to the fullest. You've already gotten the ball rolling with your launch plan, but here are a few more essentials to take into account. And I've got a few here. Make the most of the price promotions. Unless your book is perma-free, the price can always be better for customers. If your downloads are dipping and you haven't run a price promotion in a while, try the next. Here's another. Always be prepared for opportunities. You'll never know when you'll have the chance to promote your book in a life-changing way. And here's another. Employ third-party promotional services, burnt out self-marketing, or simply don't miss the mass influence you'd like. Book promotion services can help you out. Look for the services that cater specifically to your book's target audience. Marketing is key. So for those, we want to celebrate Lynette and Bridget, who's been there. So we want to give them kudos for that. They're brave. I have to say they're brave to go down the path that they took. So you have to give them give credit to them. We've got 2 authors on board. I didn't realize that.
Right.
Yes,
we
thank
might
you.
have some more. So we want to just give kudos to those authors, brag about them. I know 2 authors who have books at Barnes and Nobles.
Well, you're gonna know a few more after we get our cookbook finished.
There you go. So we're gonna do
Miss
a
Teresa, we
celebration once you
know
get that
2
going.
authors.
Yeah. So we're gonna celebrate that recipe book that you all are working on. Okay.
We plan on going TV wide, media wide.
Good Morning America, huh?
Good Morning America is the place we're gonna land. Good Morning America.
Good Morning America. Let's shoot for that. You never know. Let's shoot for it.
Well, we also
Never know.
for some of the local TV stations in this area, and we may use them as our launch party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
They'll come out.
Wonderful.
Let's do that. to launch it. So I want to
Yeah.
wish you all the best on that recipe book. Keep the good work out. You've got two excellent leaders, Lynette and Bridget, leading out.
Yeah.
And a few
And
others.
don't
that-
forget Sandra.
And
Sandra
then
is
we
up
have
there too.
Gracie.
Yes, Sandra is a very
Gracie and
key,
Sandra.
important
Yeah.
part to this team, as
Mhm.
well
Right. Who
as
else
the
do we have on
is.
board as part of it? I see Gracie's
we
there.
have Gracie, we have Lynette, we have
Mhm.
Ann Dennis, we have Brenda, we
Mm-hmm.
have, I mean, I can't mention everybody. We have about 30 people.
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Great.
John,
Yeah.
he's in it. Ronald, he's there.
All
These
Greer,
have-
Greer
all
Macy.
of these Greer, Greer, all these people have contributed recipes and items to the book that are invaluable. I've got people doing the chapter write-ups and their input. Even our Caroline, she's involved. And even though Alex is not a senior, we did invite him. So
You forgot about
as
me,
well as
Bridget.
yourself, so
We
those
didn't
are
forgot
forget
about
you,
me,
Denise.
Bridget.
We didn't forget you, Denise.
Yes, you did. Yes,
Denise.
y'all
No, we
did.
didn't. We can't
Uh-huh.
remember all the
It's
names.
30.
but-
I can't remember all the
right.
people,
Yeah,
but
I'm
we do
hearing
have a
you.
lot of people. If I didn't call your name, it's not because I'm not thinking
We
about
know.
you.
We
because
know.
So
And
many.
remember
And
everybody.
Violet
We know.
Harris. We got some
Antoinette.
good people in this group,
know.
and they're really working hard. And I'm so proud of them and proud of us because we are going to have a lunch party and we are going to go to Good Morning America. And this book is going to go worldwide.
All
right.
It's
It
gonna be
definitely,
done.
That's the
if
way to
nothing
talk,
else,
That's
it
the way to
will
think.
go. It will
Claim
go
and receive it.
worldwide.
Claim
Yeah.
and
It will go
receive it.
worldwide.
We receive it.
Oh, and one thing I'd like to mention before we get off, I saw a polling that was done nationally that DC has the most tech savvy seniors
Uh-oh.
in the nation. So we did choose the right name.
Yes,
Oh.
we did.
Oh.
DC
Yeah.
has the most tech savvy seniors in the
Yep,
nation.
that's
Wow.
right.
Okay.
We are number one. So
Mhm.
you can pat yourselves on the back,
That's a feather in our
take it all the way to the bank because they announced that on TV. I saw it on TV and I
Yeah,
almost swallowed,
Comcast, uh-huh.
I almost swallowed my toothbrush.
Don't
Like,
do that.
what?
Okay.
we are the most tech savvy seniors in the nation. That
Yeah.
means in
All
the
right.
whole entire United States.
Wow.
Right.
Number one. Wow.
So,
So
as
that gives us
early-
an advantage.
it
I am
does.
among
Yeah.
that group.
Yes.
That means I
So
gotta get
now-
better.
Yeah, so now
Yes.
we have to shine. We have to show
That's right.
why
That's right.
they say we are tech savvy.
Yes.
We have to shine. So this is just a beginning, it'll be other projects, I'm sure. You guys, like I said, you guys now have the tools and the knowledge base to make your own book. It doesn't have to be a cookbook. It can be anything that you want. Don't
Yes.
focus on one thing. Focus out of the box. I'm an out of the box thinker.
Mhm.
Yes.
Focus
Yeah.
out of the box and
Yes.
you will profit and you'll profit mentally, emotionally, and spiritually.
And
You know,
if you
Yes.
decide
Right.
to self-publish yourself, shop around for different publishers. And today's presentation made me realize that I do want to investigate Amazon self-publishing because I didn't even know they had a self-publishing there. So because Amazon is big and they can promote you big because they
Yes.
sell big.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna. That's one of the companies I'm gonna approach, and I have 3 or 4 companies I'm looking at for my own personal self-publishing, and I'm gonna vet them, and I'm gonna choose the best one that's gonna give me the best deal and the best
Return.
whole thing. Yeah,
Best services. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, I just want to thank you all for your participation.
Thank you, Ms.
participating in
James.
today's program.
Thank you.
Hope
Thank
that
you,
you leave
Teresa.
out of here with a little bit more information than when you came in.
Yes,
I'd like to
indeed.
again celebrate our authors here as shown on the slide. Lynette and Bridget. Thank you.
Yes, yes.
Thank
Yes.
you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. And we'll bring today's
Thank
meeting
you.
to an end and look forward to seeing you all. Those of you who would like to get your $25 gift certificate later on in a few hours to complete that part. Remember, it's just two, that's all you need is to attend two.
It's
and
my
you'll be
last
eligible.
one. Yes.
Right. And they're going to be online gift certificates, and I'll be actually teaching a class on how to use those gift certificates online. So make sure.
Ms. James, I want to ask you about that, and I know I probably have the answer. If you already did your 2 and got your $25 certificate, that's it, right?
Yeah,
can't-
that's what they're saying.
You can't do another
That's
2.
what they're saying.
Right.
In other words, we asked more money for the opportunities for those who did, were not able. Because what I did before was I did it in the morning. And
Right.
they felt, it's not fair to those who attend in the afternoon.
Okay,
So we
okay.
got some funding and we're doing it now for those who, weren't able to do so before in the afternoon.
Okay.
Did you get
I
my
didn't get mine.
email?
We've applied for
Teresa?
more funding for other things. So there are more other gift certificates coming.
Did
All
you get
right.
my email,
right.
Teresa? Did you get my
Now, Miss-
email?
Thank you.
Well, I passed it on to
Denise.
that department because I really don't know what's going on there, and I don't get into the whatever it is there.
Because you know
passed
that
it on.
day
Bye,
I talked,
y'all.
the day that I
Yeah.
talked to you, I gave you
gotta
the
go to church.
information. I looked, they
Yeah, I
had
passed
sent
it
me
on to them, and
they had sent
Bell
me
is
a
looking into it.
they had sent me a $10 gift
But that
card.
$10 wasn't. It was me that submitted. That was for somewhere back in
No,
January.
it say for
I give door
AT&T.
prizes.
No,
Yeah,
this
that
was
wasn't to do with-
AT&T.
No, it
Digital.
wasn't. No, it
Uh-huh.
was no. They made a mistake. They made a mistake. I submitted your name along with 2 others for $10 gift certificates for something that was done back in January.
Yeah,
They made a
that's-
mistake by giving you the wrong information on it. That was me doing that. Nothing to do with AT&T.
Because another
I don't
lady
remember
said she
if
did
it's in the
too.
wheel or if you answered some questions correctly. Every
Yeah.
once in a while, I do give out door prizes, and that was that one day that I did.
Oh, because I never spent it. It was from Target.
Right.
It
Right.
was
So
for
that's not
Target, right?
that's not AT&T. Yeah.
Well, I
Oh.
did.
But I
4
did get the
passes.
list that you did receive your AT&T. I did a list showing that your name was on that list.
Yeah, but I didn't ever get it.
Well, is your address correct? They called to
Yeah.
confirm your address. And
Yeah.
so,
It probably
know.
got lost in the mail or something.
I didn't get mine neither. This is Thelma again, and I did 4 back then. In what, December? When we first did them, I did 4 days of it 4 times, but I did not receive nothing. Then I called and spoke to one of the ladies, long distance, and she took my name, my address, and she said she's gonna send it to DACA, and DACA would give it to me. And I ain't
DACA
hear
never
nothing
did?
else. Never
We
did.
never did.
Never
No,
did.
because they called
But
me.
your name is on, I'll have to check your list, your name, but your name is on that list that I submitted. I had to submit
right.
a list of those in attendance. Alex gave me the list and
Yeah.
I submitted, and those checks were supposed to be mailed out to you, those gift
Mhm.
certificates.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've got to go.
I
The
got
clock
my
is
gift
ticking.
certificate. I got my
So
gift
I'm gonna
certificate,
go.
but I didn't get my presentation award.
Oh, Bridget, yes, that's right. You did not. The lateness of yours came in just what, a couple weeks ago? You sent it to me?
Because I didn't know that I was supposed to have sent that invoice. So.
Well, I submitted it when you sent it.
Okay. Well,
Okay,
thank you so much.
I did do that.
All
Mhm.
right. Thank you
All
so
right,
much.
so I'm going to say goodbye to all of you. I see you hopefully later. If I don't, have the most wonderful weekend. I mean, God bless you, and see you first thing Monday morning. My Monday morning class next week, let me see, what do I have in store for next Monday?
You said it was something extra, different.
No, the Monday morning class is going to be upgrading your operating system. I have to check to see what I have in that calendar.
Yeah, we did that.
Okay.
Huh?
You did
Wednesday.
that just recently, right?
Right.
Yeah, Wednesday.
Yeah, so I have to check to see, maybe I have the wrong, let me end my show, but I'll check my calendar and you'll get a reminder. You should be getting a reminder on that.
Okay.
Okay, all
Teresa.
right.
Have a good weekend.
Good weekend, everyone.
Enjoy your
Teresa
weekend.
and Patricia.
Have a good weekend,
Have
everyone.
a good
Have a
weekend.
good
Bye-bye.
That's a safe one.
Thank
You
you.
now.
Bye-bye.
Mhm.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Be blessed.
Bye.